Ethereum gas fees explained. That's what we're going to be talking about. Why are Ethereum gas fees so high? What is Ethereum gas exactly? In this video, I'm going to give you a full low-tech explanation. We're going to try to cut all the fuss. This isn't going to be some high-tech, complicated understanding, but I promise you, if you finish watching this video, you're going to have a better understanding of Ethereum and Ethereum gas fees than most people who transact on the entire blockchain. You're going to have an understanding that rivals the top 10% of everyone who uses Ethereum, because most people who transact on Ethereum really don't fully understand what they're doing. So let's go ahead and get started. But let me just first say this. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Crypto Wealth. I believe in the future of cryptocurrency. I believe that we are on the cutting edge front line of a truly extraordinary technological revolution. And if you believe that, do me a favor, smash that subscribe button, because I want you to join us on this journey as we continue to learn and grow together. And please hit that bell notification icon and click all so you don't miss any of these videos. All right, let's get started. Ethereum gas fees explained. Why Ethereum gas fees are so high. Full low-tech explanation. What is gas? That's what we're going to be talking about. Why is gas needed? Why is it necessary? How is gas calculated? And why are ETH fees so dang high? That's what you're going to find out in this video. So what is gas? Short answer is gas is simply a transaction fee. Now this is not a complete explanation. We'll cover it in more details, but typically you pay gas every time you complete a transaction on Ethereum. And if you don't pay it, then somebody else is paying it. But most often you're paying gas when you complete a transaction on the Ethereum network. Now let's compare this to Bitcoin and how transaction fees are paid on Bitcoin. So on Bitcoin, a brand new block is added to Bitcoin roughly every 10 minutes. Each block can only contain 1 megabyte of data. To have your transaction added to a block, you have to pay a fee to the miners. The amount you pay in fees is determined by the size in bytes of your transaction. In other words, unlike traditional finance, where transaction fees can often be correlated to the USD value of the transaction, with Bitcoin, the transaction cost has nothing to do with the amount of Bitcoin in the transaction. In Bitcoin, the cost of the transaction is determined by only two factors: the size in bytes of the transaction, or the amount of data necessary to complete the transaction, and the amount of transactions competing to be included in that 1 megabyte block. So if a lot of people want their transactions to get through fast and there's only so much data that can fit into a block, this will create a scenario where the only way to get ahead of the line is to pay more fees to the miners, or the only way to ensure that your transaction is going to be included in the current block is to pay more fees. That essentially puts you at the front of the line. Miners want to maximize profits, so of course they'll take the transactions that pay the most first. With Ethereum, there are no max block sizes in bytes. Ethereum blocks are limited by the amount of gas that can be included in each block. This gets a bit controversial, but Ethereum is not limited by the amount of data. It's limited by the amount of gas per block. Now, there's something called a gas block limit that's supposed to be the limit to the amount of gas each block can receive. However, this limit does fluctuate a little bit during periods of high activity on the blockchain. Oftentimes the block gas limit will increase incrementally over time. So what is gas exactly? To understand gas, let's look first at a very simplified explanation of Ethereum. At its core, Ethereum is a software protocol of simple if this then that type computations. If this happens, then that will happen next. Gas is often explained as a simple transaction fee, since you pay gas for every transaction. But when more accurately or more completely explained, gas is really the fee that we're paying to miners to be able to complete these computations. The more computations required, the higher the gas fee will be, or the more gas is going to be required in order for the transactions to go through. For example, sending ETH from one wallet address to another requires very little computations, or very few computations. And it's one of the cheapest transactions that you can make. Interacting with Uniswap, on the other hand, requires a bit more computations. So you're sending a transaction to Uniswap. Uniswap, the smart contract itself, is going to be interacting with the liquidity pool It's going to be exchanging tokens back and forth. It's going to be calculating liquidity fees. It's going to be paying out those liquidity fees proportional to the liquidity pool tokens in the pool. So even though you may do one transaction, transacting one token for another token on Uniswap, that transaction has more computations than simply sending Ethereum from one wallet address to another. Therefore, the gas fees can be a good bit more. Some of your decentralized finance transactions have layer upon layer of computations that need to be calculated in order for one transaction to be completed. That's why some of these decentralized finance cost more gas than just about any other transactions, probably anywhere in the blockchain. So now we understand the complexity of a transaction determines how much gas is needed to complete a transaction. Let's look at how the price of gas is determined. Gas is measured in GUI. So GUI is a fraction of a Bitcoin. It's actually 1/billionth of an Ethereum. 0.0000000001 Ethereum. Now, the simplest transaction required, sending ETH from one address to another address, is going to cost a minimum of 21,000 GUI. That's the minimum transaction cost. So there are three factors that can affect how much you pay in gas. When making a transaction on Ethereum, first, it's the price of the Ethereum itself. Since we pay gas in GUI, and GUI is a fraction of an Ethereum, then the price of Ethereum directly correlates to the price of a GUI. Second, the amount of computations needed to complete a transaction. The more computations you have in a transaction, the more GUI needed for that transaction. The third factor that affects gas prices the most is the number of people trying to complete a transaction at the same time. Since each block is limited by the amount of gas it can contain, similar to Bitcoin, you can pay higher fees to push your transaction through faster. So if people are willing to pay more GUI to get their transaction through fast, then the overall cost of transaction with Ethereum can go up. Recently, with the explosion of interest in Ethereum, the popularity of complex transactions such as those in decentralized finance, blockchain games, and yield farming, as well as Ethereum hitting brand new all-time highs, this has caused a major problem for Ethereum. Gas fees can cost as much as $100 or more for a single transaction at times. I want to explain that if you want to understand why gas is so high, it's because the popularity of Ethereum right now, so many people wanting to transact on Ethereum. So you have a lot of people competing. That's the first reason. The second reason is a lot of people are very excited about decentralized finance. Decentralized finance contracts, yield farming, almost everything related to DeFi has much. I mean, that's some of the most expensive things that you can do transaction-wise with Ethereum, as well as Ethereum hitting brand new all-time highs. All three of these factors are contributing to why you're seeing such high ETH gas fees. As far as lowering gas fees, the Ethereum Foundation knows that they have an Ethereum gas fee problem. They know that. Right now, Ethereum's not in a position to scale very well to a mass market, or at least a much larger mass market. So they have two proposals they're working on that may help with this somewhat. One is ETH 2.0. and one is EIP 1559. The problem is EIP 1559 isn't going to be a permanent solution, and it's not an extremely strong solution, although it will be helpful. Ethereum 2.0 is still probably a year or two, maybe more out before it takes full effect, and we see the full effect of that. There are things that we can do as Ethereum users to reduce our gas fees. That gets out of the scope of this video, so I'll be discussing that in a future video. So go ahead, be sure to subscribe if you haven't done so already. And so far, if this has been helpful, I'm going to show you an example in the real world what this looks like. But so far, if this has been helpful, do me a favor, smash that like button, hit that subscribe button, ladies and gentlemen. Hit that subscribe button, and of course, smash the like button. Let's get this YouTube algorithm helping us. Let's look at this in a real world example. So if you're looking to save fees on Ethereum, on your Ethereum transactions, one of the things you can do, one tip that I can go ahead and show you, is come over to ethereumgasstation.info, ethgasstation.info, and just take a look. Always hit refresh, see what the latest transactions are. These are quite good. These transactions are quite good. These prices are good. But one of the things you can do is just do you need your transaction to go through right now? Let's say you want to make a transaction and you want to come over here to MetaMask, and let's say you were trying to determine what you wanted to, how much you wanted to spend. You'll see these three options: slow, average, and fast. And slow is good. Typically slows within 5 minutes. That can save you some money. By the way, these gas fee prices are really good right now compared with where they've been at. That's what prompted me to do this video. These fees have been so high, and people have been asking why are they so high. But one of the things you can do that's better than this, you can come here, click the advanced option, and you can take a look at these prices here. You can take a look, 126, 169. Now sometimes you'll notice this price may be like 300, 350, but yet this one's only like 150. Well, unless you're in a hurry to get your transaction through really fast, you can choose, 126 GUI, or I recommend coming over this by, 10%, 20%. So it would be like this. It's currently 126, then you can change it to, 126, you could change it to maybe 140. And that way you're going to pay $5.15, but you're not going to be paying this price. You're not going to have to necessarily worry about paying this price. So that just gives you an example. And this shows you, this is a concrete example of how you pay more GUI to get your transaction through faster. And this is just an approximation of how much it would take to get your transaction through. Now let's look at a couple of transactions on Etherscan just to kind of show you this an example. These are a couple of transactions I found earlier. By the way, someone sent 35 Ether. That's awesome. Wasn't me. Wish it was. So let's just say that you, let's look at this for a minute. So 21,000, they just sent in 35,000 Ether from one wallet to another wallet. Whoever did this, that's what they were doing. So it's just 21,000 is the amount of GUI you need. The price is going to be here, 187. So we just looked at the ETH gas station. This person paid 187, which would be right in the middle when they did their transaction. So you paid 187. Now, mind you, just 2 or 3 days ago, I was paying almost 300. You need to understand the Ethereum gas station prices change really, really fast. All depends on how active it is. Let's see. It's still the same. That's actually really good and nice and stable prices right now. If you take a look at the amount, the gas limit is 21,000 times this 187 GUI, or 187.36. And that's what ended up costing $6.90. So it was the actual amount of gas used in the transaction times the price, the amount of GUI used, and that's how this $6.90 worth of Ethereum came up. Now let me show you a more complex example. This was a Uniswap transaction. Now Uniswap gas used was 216,000, 10 times the amount of gas used to transact on Uniswap at a price of 300. And this transaction ended up being $113. So do you see how that's calculated? It's the amount of gas used. Notice there's a lot more gas used because it's a more complex transaction with multiple computations, for lack of better words. Now, the actual GUI price was 300. So it's 300 GUI times this number gives you this number in Ethereum, which is $113.75. So we've explained a little bit about what Ethereum is, why Ethereum gas prices are so high, and I'm going to be doing a video soon. Stay tuned. I'm going to be completing a playlist on Ethereum. Then I'm going to be doing a video that's going to show you some things that you can and I can do. I'm just creating a whole list of things that we can do as individuals to be able to decrease our overall gas cost when we're transacting and when we're using Ethereum. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. Hopefully this video has been helpful to you, ladies and gentlemen. Smash that like button. Decentralized cryptocurrency equals freedom. Crypto is the future. Thank you so much for watching. I'm out.